outside this car, it is 2 degrees. So the horses who live here at Jamie Osborne's stable are probably really looking forward to their trip to Dubai. Building on the success of Ouzo last year, he's got a really strong team. So I want to find out exactly who he's bringing and what we've got to look forward to. Obviously, Jamie, good success last year in Dubai. We all enjoyed it. But this year, a big push, notable at the sales when you started buying lots of dirt breds. Why?
Yeah. Well, look, last year Meydan was good. It was our most successful year there with a small team of horses. All my clients that went thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think others saw the fun we were having out there and probably wanted a piece of it. So all of a sudden I have a group of clients that were keen to see if we could find a horse to go to Meydan this year. So we've been planning it really for 12 months. And we've got a good spread of horses this year. Some of the old boys that are going back again and some new ones. It's the first time we've taken 2-year-olds. And obviously it's the first time we've taken dirt horses. And that was really thanks to Jim and Claire Bryce, who came out with a horse last year, Many a Star, who wasn't really good enough, but they got a taste for Meydan and thoroughly enjoyed it. So we just were looking at ways to see if we could get them some horses out there this year without going down the obvious route. You know, historically we've brought horses to Dubai that are sort of other people's cast-offs, and we've tried to sort of rebuild them a little bit and compete in the turf races. So having a go on the dirt this year with fresh horses it's a new venture. But I think we've got enough quality in those horses. Hopefully we'll be able to compete. It will be interesting to see how they compare to the local horses. And obviously we've not been able to train on dirt here, so there could be some adaptation time needed. They might take a run or two to really just click in and get used to it. But they've all got the pedigrees to do it. And I think the ones we're bringing have got enough ability to compete.
It is tremendously exciting, but as you say, you do need the backing, sporting owners and ones willing to take a bit of a chance, I suppose.
Yes, obviously Ian and Claire Barrett Racing are back again with Sean. My wife and her partnership of girls are back again with Ouzo. David Kavanagh and Dominic Griffiths came out 2 years ago with a horse with Hierarchy, who we really shouldn't have brought out there. He didn't do well, but they thoroughly enjoyed it. So the Fingal Raven's coming out for them. John and Kate Collins going to have their first experience of Meydan with Jungle Drums. So a good team of people. And then of course, well, this year we've got our first horse for Mali Al Basti. A horse I wasn't able to show you this morning because he's not yet arrived. He arrives from Germany in the next couple of days. A horse called Sea Hector, former winner of an Italian Guineas. So he's going to come out as well. He'll ship out on the 18th. And it's nice to have a horse for Mali on his home track. Hopefully he can do well. There'll be a little bit of juggling. Obviously we've got to keep. They're similar horses. Sean, Sea Hector and Ouzo are all quite similar horses, but I think there's enough races for all of them, and potentially one of them could flip into Doha for the valuable mile race there on their big day. So they're 3 high-class horses, 2 of which have proved that Dubai suits them, and one we're going to have to, well, that'll evolve. Hopefully he'll arrive in good condition from Germany. We'll have 3 weeks with him here, and then he'll ship out on the 18th, and his prep will continue out there.
And you, probably more than most, used Dubai as a bit of a hub to race elsewhere last year. Did you find that easy enough?
Yep, Emirati Anna shipped into Doha, having had his prep in Dubai, and that suited him really well. It was almost like a home match for him, and obviously winning the Dukan Sprint was great. Yep, it was pretty simple. It was a pretty simple process, and obviously it's one that we would like to repeat this year with 1 or 2 of them if they're looking good enough.
And jockeys-wise, Safi, off the back of an amazing year, is off to Australia, but you still plan to use her if possible?
Yeah, Saf's currently in Australia. I think to a degree it'll depend how well Australia is going. She's very keen to come to the carnival and ride our horses there, but if things are going well in Australia, then it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Adre de Vries stepped in when Safi was injured last year and won on Ouzo. So the same two, I mean, if either Adri or Safi are riding them, then I'm happy.
So, Jamie, who's this?
This is a 2-year-old called Golden Garden by Medagladoro, out of a stakes-winning Malibu Moon Mare. He's had 2 runs. He hasn't really shown enough to justify the trip just yet, but he's been very green and he's been a hard horse to get fit, and I think I'm going to run him again here, and I've got him penciled in to ship on the 18th of December if his next run goes okay. On his homework, I would say he's good enough to be in Dubai, but obviously he hasn't shown that yet. But I think his 3rd run he might just do that, in which case we'll bring him in on the next flight and he could then go to a non-winners of 2 beginning of January.
Aside from pedigree, what did you like about him?
I think he's quite decent, even though he hasn't, on the racecourse so far, he's been disappointing. We forgave him his 1st run. His 2nd run he travelled very well, didn't really finish. I don't think I had him fit enough. He's a big kind of raw horse, and I think he's just going to improve as the next few months go on, and I think that hopefully he's a horse that, well, obviously the aim is for him to win a trial or win a non-winners of 2 and go to the Al-Bastakia, but you know, there's a lot of moving parts to that. It could be that it's all happening too soon for him, but at the moment I very much would like to bring him.
So this is Heart of Honour, who you acquired where?
Yeah, he's a 2-year-old by Honour AP. He came from the Arcana Breeze Up sale. He's had 1 run. He was 2nd in a 7-furlong maiden at Southall. He was very green. 7 furlongs, a bit on the sharp side for him. So, and he will run on the 6th of December in the non-winners of 2 over a mile. Obviously, he's a out-and-out dirt pedigree. His dam won the Chilean 1,000 guineas. And he's really come forward for his 1st run. So I'd be fairly confident that he is going to justify the trip. And obviously my hope is that he can then work his way through, end up in the 2,000 guineas and then maybe the Al-Bastakia, and we'll see where we go from there.
Now, obviously, he's got the pedigree, but there's no dirt track in England. Apart from running them on the all-weather, which is very different, what can you do to prepare them? Anything?
We have a sand track here, and I think that helps. But look, there's a fair amount of guessing involved, and obviously on pedigree, he should go on dirt. He's probably going to require a little bit of adaptation time when he gets there, and possibly for that 1st run, you know, it all might just be a little. He's going to improve a lot for his 1st run on dirt, but we've got time. He's a horse. Look, there's still a bit to work on, and I would like to think that he's a horse that can at least get through to Super Saturday time or Al-Bastakia time. Whether or not, we'll have to see whether or not any of these horses are good enough for the UAE Derby. It's a little dream we've got at the moment, but I think this is a pretty decent horse.
This is Secret Combination, well named by Maximum Security. What are the hopes for this one?
She won 1st time out at Chelmsford. It was an ordinary enough race, but she was on the inner edge of being ready, and I think she can come forward a lot from that race. So the idea with her is that she'll run in Meydan on the 20th in the Fillies Conditions race. Hopefully that's over 7. Then it would lead on to the Cocoa Beach, and then ultimately the aim would to be hoped that she's good enough for a UAE Oaks. I think she can keep improving during her time there. She's obviously got a through and through dirt pedigree. Yes, there's going to be that need for the adaptation when we get there, but I have a hunch that she'll cope with it well.
She looks a really nice quality filly. What stood out when you bought her?
She was a very cheap breeze up horse. She only cost €17,000 from the Tattersalls Island breeze up sale. Look, sometimes you just get lucky. You know, she's got a fair amount of ability. On the day, I don't think she probably showed herself that well. But, you know, she's thrived in the last couple of months. And so, you know, I'm pretty sure that, look, we're going into a relatively small pool of 2-year-old fillies on the dirt. So it's hard to know quite how good we're going to need to be. But I think she's not a bad filly, so hopefully she'll be able to compete.
Now, the first time I saw you with the Fingal Raven, you said, I think one day he's going to be a nice horse. How's he living up to that?
Yeah, we've had a slightly sort of up and down 2-year-old year with him so far. He won a maiden well at Kempton, and then I made the mistake of running him on soft ground at Newbury. So I think fast ground is what he wants. I think Meydan will suit him. So he's going to leave on the 18th and come out, be ready for his first run there in a 7-furlong conditions race on the 3rd of January, which will then hopefully lead into that Guineas trial on the 31st of January, and then the Jumeirah Guineas on the 1st of March. Now, obviously, he's only rated 88, so he's got a bit of improvement if he's going to be up to that level. But I think he's quite a decent horse, and I think a mile round Meydan on fast ground is absolutely what he's going to want. So we're just getting him ready here now. He's obviously got to have a clip before he leaves. We'll leave that to the last minute. But, you know, hopefully he's a horse that can thrive out there and do well. On his homework, I think, you know, he's definitely a 3-figure horse. So hopefully he can thrive, and well, we'll see what Charlie Appleby turns up with, but if he could get as far as the Jumeirah Guineas with a chance, that would be great.
Well, this is the man himself, Ouzo, who did an awful lot last year for publicity for the carnival. I'm very grateful to him. I think he surprised you a little bit, is that fair?
He did. I thought he was potentially our weak link in the squad last year, and he ended up winning the Lord North and the Lord Glitters, which was a very happy surprise. So he's coming back again to defend those crowns, potentially. We might take a slightly different route with him. He's just had the 4 runs this year in England. We've kind of minded him with this in mind. So he comes back on a mark of 101. So potentially we might start him on the 3rd of January in the 10 furlong 0 to 105, because we could well have another horse. So we'll see how we get on. But look, for whatever reason, he's 9. He you know, on both these trips to Dubai so far, even though he didn't win the first year, he ran some great races just in defeat. He kind of thrives out there. So, you know, his life really is more about a Middle Eastern winter than it is about an English summer now. And obviously his owners thoroughly enjoy their time in Dubai. So they're all very keen to go again. So he'll ship out on the 18th of December, potentially for his first run on the 3rd of January.
Right, so Sean was a newcomer to you last year and did so well. In fact, was probably a bit unlucky.
I'd say he was the unlucky horse of last year's carnival. You know, he just got beaten a short head in the Dubai Millennium, and then he was a very unlucky 3rd in the Singspiel. So he's coming back for another go. He's leaving tomorrow, so he's going to run on the 20th in the Group 2 over a mile. So just getting there a little bit earlier gives him an extra shot, and then it'll evolve from that where we go, whether we then go stay running in the group races. But he's coming in this year on 105, so the option of a handicap is there for him. You know, I think he put up a couple of good performances in the summer this year, and a couple of ordinary ones. His last 2 were ordinary. I think that was mainly ground. I think he just thrives on a bit of fast ground. So the handicap option is there for us. But again, he's a horse that really enjoyed his time in Meydan last year. His year really we've always had in mind that we'd like to go back. He looks very well. He was a very simple horse to train out there last year, and hopefully that'll be the same. And it would be great to win one in Meydan with him, having gone so close last year.
And his owner enjoys his racing?
Yeah, Ian Barrett and the Barrett family came out, sadly only for one of his runs last year. Hopefully they'll be able to come at some stage and enjoy him. Thankfully, all the owners of these horses are looking forward to it. They all enjoy Dubai. It's really mainly the motivation for doing it, because people enjoy it.
Jungle Drums is one you're taking a chance on, you said?
Well, yeah, look, he's a new horse to us. We bought him at the Horses in Training sale, having won the Rockingham at York on soft ground. So the question mark has to be, did he win the Rockingham because of the soft ground or in spite of it? I have a hunch. He won a novice with a penalty on quick ground. I think he'll be okay. He's rated 101. We've gelded him since the sale, so he'll go out on the 18th. There are the 2 6-furlong 3-year-old conditions races on the grass for him, which he hopefully will hit those slots. It's unlikely that he's going to sort of probably be good enough for an Alquoz, but he's owned by John and Kay Collins and Jim and Claire Bryce. So John and Kay have not had a runner out there before, so it'd be nice for them to experience it. And if we're wrong, if he does need the soft ground to perform to those big numbers, then we'll just come home with our tail between our legs. But he's a nice, straightforward sort of gelding now, who hopefully will thrive in the sunshine. And those 6-furlong 3-year-old only races in January and February historically aren't necessarily that strong, so him coming in off 101 would be right up to standard.